Just sitting here in the hay wagon with Amy. We're going to go to work. I got a flat tire still. Be fixed this afternoon, I guess, on the Malibu. We got a pothole. I talked about that in the outset. I did not call CAA. I drove it to the gas station, put in the fix-a-flat, and drove it home. Pretty sure the tire's pooched. Anyway, we have 3 stables. Now, we do have some horses out with other people, but one horse does not constitute a stable, so we will not be. Well, here I can tell you, Travis Henry has what's her name? Paline Blue Chip. She was coming off. We turned her out, and when we turned her out, we got her looked at, and her sesamoids were bothering her a bit. So we put her in a pool when we brought her back. Travis is going to race her in London for us. And Jared Bothwell has Sally DeVee, who has always had those aches and pains. Her knees and feet bother her, so she's had a long year also. We put her in the pool with Jared up on First Line Training Center. Obviously, we don't have a pool at Tamiko. That may change someday, but as of right now, all we have is puddles. So, what? Oh yeah, she is racing on Thursday. We can get to that another time though. So we have 3 stables, 3 trainers so far, Kevin, Harry, and Jason. All 3 are having a decent run now, as people wisely and nicely put. It's not having a big run. Nobody's having a big run this time of year. Well, how could we? We're putting our best horses away. We're starting up 2-year-olds that we'd stopped early. Some of the race horses are a little bit tired. So yeah, this is a slow time of year. I'm aware of that. You're aware of that. Even the dogs know that. They're in the back. So, we'll start with Harry's barn. Run through it quick. We had Final Answer come back in. He looks tremendous. Both him and Casanova's Jewel and Candy Mac actually look great. They all grew up. They all filled out good. They look great. They do it. They look exactly how we need them to look. Now it's up to them. I think we already know Casanova's Jewel and Final Answer have put it all together. Candy Mac, you got some work to do. So Harry's barn, we've Autumn Wings. Autumn Wings is just about to start training back now. She's been jogging for a few weeks. Harry has her in the barn. I haven't seen her train because she hasn't trained, but I've seen her on the track, and she looks good also. Did put a little bit of weight on. That was one of my biggest concerns. She's always been a bit of a worrywart, but looks good right now. Big update on Fan the Flames. Fan the Flames trained the other day. I took him to Mohawk and trained him. Harry had a bunch to go with, and Jason was taking somebody over to train. I forget who it was. Somebody over to train, and I said, well, why don't you ask Harry if he wants to send Fan the Flames? So I took him over and trained him. 2-1 and looked unbelievably good. This is a horse I've stuck up for and stretched my neck a little bit for the last year and a half. And, you know, for the people out there, and I'll keep using this horse only because I'm too lazy to go look up a bunch of other ones. But you look at a horse like Tactical Landing. There's a good horse that was bought for $800,000. He was supposed to be a good horse. So right off the bat, he's a little bit ahead of other horses. He was supposed to be a good horse, but he wasn't. At 2, he had a couple of trainers. He was no good. Absolutely horrible. And not until about halfway through his 3-year-old year did this horse actually start to come forward. Won the Breeders' Crown the other night. Looked like one of the best horses in the division. So, for those of you out there saying, oh, he's no good at 2, oh, he didn't have a great start to his 3-0 campaign, he must be no good, just take your time. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to think that I know. I'm some sort of guru. But at the same time, I've been around a lot of horses, and I saw Fan the Flames was not filled out. And don't get me wrong, Fan the Flames will never be Tactical Landing. But Fan the Flames could be a nice horse for the people that own them. Haley and I, the breeder, original breeder of this horse, had talked about this multiple times. And I told her, listen, he's a June foal. He's big. He's huge. You know, he's hikey in the turns because he was just hurting a little bit. He was interfering. I trained him the other day. He never put a step in. So, Fan the Flames, although he'll never be an open trotter, I don't think, he has all the tools to be a good trotter, and everybody wants a good trotter, me being first in line. So Fan the Flames is on his way back. Now it's quite a jump of 2-1 from where he'd been training back. So I think Harry just wants to back him off for a week, make sure that his muscles didn't get too taxed, make sure he's 100% when we go to qualify him, but he is almost back. Final Answer is back. He's back in the barn. He's back jogging, filled out good. This is a horse that already proved he wants to be a good horse multiple times. Had he had a good finish to the year, might have actually raced him in the Wellwood. That's how highly I thought of this colt. In hindsight, that would not have been very good. Well, I guess it's hard to say. He was good at the time. But Final Answer's got a bright future ahead of him. I'm sure of that. And he's back in Harry's care right now. Just a Tad is also back in Harry's care. He started training. We gelded him right before we brought him back in. He will be back training, I believe, tomorrow. Maybe I'll go with him tomorrow. Lima's Son, another horse, just started back training. Another horse that we're going to train tomorrow. Might have a big day tomorrow in Harry's barn. Maybe I'll go down and help Harry out tomorrow. Lima's Son looks good, starting training now. Probably train him a couple of times and then get that leg rescanned just to make sure we're on the right track and we've done everything right. We've given him more time than they asked us to give him. The leg looks great, so we've no issues in that regard. But I do want to make sure there's no problems before we start really stepping on the accelerator with this guy. Lincoln James, been a little flat his last couple, but he's in tough. You know, horses know when they're in tough. We drag them back, and when James drove him, it looked like he got his head tucked, and I thought maybe he shut his air a bit. We put Phil on him the other day, put a choke plate on him, and he was 3 wide at the 5/8. So I guess not Phil's fault. The guy came out in front of him and then kind of stalled there. It's just the way the race shaped up. So Lincoln James, you know, there has been a couple of people say, well, what about Lincoln James? I don't think he's racing that bad. You know, there's a horse that made $20-some thousand of your investment back. And again, I hate talking about return on investment, but here's a horse that will make probably $80,000 to $100,000 every year if he stays at par. Now, he's not going to stay at par forever. He's 7 years old, but I think he's sounder now than when we got him. I think he's put on a couple of pounds. I think he looks good. You know, I noticed, one of our other clients also noticed, this time last year, Ron Burke rested him for a month. So that's not outside the realm of possibility. And it's not outside the realm of possibility to simply send him back to Ron Burke to race at the Meadows. I don't have a problem doing that. I'd have to reach out to Ronnie. But we will see how Lincoln James races this week first. So that's Lincoln James. Linnea is also back. She looks really, really good too. I watched him train her the other day. She looked fantastic. Here's a filly that fought sickness all summer. We are going to, as I said, put a very aggressive vaccination program in place, not just for the 2-year-olds, for the 3-year-olds also. This filly is on the top of the list. Maxwell Plum back training also. Another horse. Harry's going to have a big, big Wednesday here. I have to go down and see what's up with Harry's barn tomorrow. Maxwell Plum. I'm very interested to see how this horse is going to come back. Obviously, he had some issues after his qualifier. We tried to work through them. He had hit himself up high in his left hind leg, bruised it. And there might have been a little bit more than a bruise there also. Couldn't find anything, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. We stopped with him for a long time. He really filled out and turned into a nice horse. And he is a nice horse. Nice horse to be with, behind on the track, and a nice horse to train. He loves his work. Maxwell Plum, ready for the beach. We'll skip to a horse that doesn't love his work. Is ready for the beach. He's going to be ready to go at some point in the next few weeks. And then we will be racing him in the conditions or the condition claimers. It will be up to him. And if we get some good lines on him and still aren't pleased with the final product, he may find himself in some sort of a dispersal situation. Screaming Hawk coming back good. Now, did have a little bit of a bump to him right front the other day. Little rolly on the track. Harry said some days he's good, some days he's bad. I want to get him looked at. So I'm going to take him over Wednesday, make sure that his knees are closing up the way that we need them to. He's probably just going through the end of a growth spurt, but looks good on the track and actually blew up to be a very tall, good-looking horse. So Screaming Hawk, well on his way to starting back. I don't want him training him until we get him looked at, though. I want to make sure if there's anything there, we nip it in the bud. Sunshine Inn is back and going now. I don't believe he has trained her yet. She's in the same trajectory as Linnea. Get her back going, get her vaccinated up, make sure we keep her healthy all winter. See what we have throughout the early stages of winter. If we believe that Linnea and her are stake fillies, which I believe they probably are, then we'll shut them down somewhere in mid-January, end of January, put 4 or 5 starts into them, shut them down, and try and freshen them up for the OSS, the Ontario Sire Stakes next year. The Butler did it. Here's a horse I'm keeping a very, very close eye on. This is a horse that kind of just was, he was kind of blah last year. He was all right, did his work, didn't show any flash, wasn't a wow factor in the stable. Raced him once, sent him to Paul Kelly. Paul said he was sick for a month and couldn't race him. We sent him back. We threw him out in the field, brought him back, and he looks great. He looks really, really good. This horse has filled out even better than I thought he would, and I'm very interested to see how he's going to be. I'd like to go with him tomorrow, get a close look at him. And last and not least, only because of alphabetical order, Too Far Gone. Harry loves the way she looks starting back now. He's trained her a couple of times. Geez, Harry's going to have a big Wednesday. There's like 8 horses on here he'll likely train tomorrow. I want to see Too Far Gone go also. Very interested to see how this filly came back. As you know, and I'm the first to say it, a lot of the times when our clients want to dump their shares, if I can help you out, either buy the shares or trade you for yearlings or shares that I have, if possible, I'll always try to accommodate our clients the best I can. And I ended up with a lot of shares on Too Far Gone. So I'm very interested to see how she's going to come back. Obviously, when I look through the roster and see all the money that I have sunk into the stable, it would be nice to have some of that sitting in my bank account rather than sitting in a feed tub. So very interested to see how Too Far Gone is going to come back. I expect her to come back good. If she doesn't, she also may be on a dispersal list. But that's way down the road because I really think this filly wants to do her work. We're going to give her every opportunity to do it. So that's Harry's burn. All done. I'm going to take off now, go to the burn. I get a couple more burns to talk to you about, Jason and Kevin's burn. Then we're going to talk about the BB, the yearling. So I will be back in just a minute, and we will run through all of the stables. Well, we are back. Oh, there's a lot of sun right here, eh? Oh, well. Well, we are back. I'm sitting up by the track. I got to go with Beach Bum BB here in a minute. And Havana Ooh Na Na in a minute also, as they were just broke. And I want to make sure I go with them. I want to make sure they have a good first few days in the barn. So I don't want to startle them, put somebody else on them. I got to know them yesterday and jog them both. So I want to continue to go with them today. So I'll be going with them in a minute. I want to run through these 2 stables, and I'll be back right after that. And we are going to talk about all the babies, what I thought about all of them on drone day last week. And hopefully, today's Tuesday, I might be able to get a drone in this Saturday. That's possible. Anyway, we're going to come back now with Jason's barn. Jason has had, obviously, a fantastic 2019. I've known Jason for a while. I can't speak out of turn, but I assume it's the best year of his life, considering the stake wins he had and the success he had in Ohio in 2018. So we're going to run through Jason's barn. Our Vic, obviously, 2 weeks ago, took her lifetime mark. Looked great in the mud doing it. And then come back. Last week, he made a break, an uncharacteristic break. You'll remember the only time she made a break, I believe, is when her hobbles broke at Mohawk. I'd asked Mario what happened. He said, she just rolled off down the backstretch. So I come back from the Breeders' Crown and the flat tire and everything else, and I went down to the burn, and I said, you know, pull that filly out, we'll take a look at her. You know, I went over her. She's huge, huge. Her ass is popped up. She looks like a hot rod. And, you know, obviously that's the clear indicators that the filly's going through a substantial growth spurt. So I scrapped her last 2 starts of the year that we had slated for her to do, and turned her out. So our Vika is gone to the field for the rest of 2018. Probably, well, not the rest of 2018. Probably give her 4 or 5 weeks off, and then we will bring her back. Not 4 or 5. It'd be 5 or 6. And then we'll bring her back when she's done this growth spurt and start her back up. She looked good 2 weeks ago. She looked uncharacteristically rough the other day, and after taking a rather long look at her, I'm pretty sure I know why. I had pictures, but I didn't know how to add them to the site. So if you're an owner of a Vic out there and you want to get a handle on what I'm talking about and what I mean, simply ask. I have 3 or 4 pictures I had taken yesterday, and you can see what I'm talking about. Simply growing through a fairly substantial growth spurt, the big girl. Boston Glide schooled him without hobbles the other day. He's getting ready to go without hobbles on Thursday at the qualifiers. We're going to see Boston Glide's never gone a mile better than 15 before the other day. He went a mile in 2-1 and a bit, 2-2 at Mohawk in a schooler. Obviously, he got a little rough down by the wire, but he's coming 28 in a piece. So he's learning to trot without the hobbles. I mean, obviously, we can put them back on at any point, and he'll be fine. We may not have to. I don't suspect we will. He's pretty sure-footed, so we'll see how he does on Thursday. Casanova's Jewel is back in the barn now. He's in Jason's barn. just started jogging. They finished just shoeing him this morning, actually, when I got here. Canali Hanover was gelded on Monday. We castrated him. Should have probably done it before we turned him out, but whatever, I didn't. So we did him now when we came back. Just a couple of people pulling in and watching Too Far Gone training. Got a lot going on right now. So, so that is, where are we at here? That's Casanova's Jewel. One sec. What's up?
Do you have your banking stuff on your phone?
Yep.
I just need the transit and account number. That Ross guy's going to the
Yeah,
bank.
that's no problem. I can do that. Oh, I forgot to send that to you.
You did?
Yeah, I'll get that to you in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, so the transit number and...
I know what it is. Yeah, I'll wire it. Do a little banking. So, Casanova's Jewel's back going now. Canali Hanover's gelded now. He's already going. There's no time to really be missed. A few days in the stall, light jogging, and as soon as he feels comfortable and there's no swelling in that area, we can, Too Far Gone looks good. We can start him back. So he's been jogging, probably going to train a little bit. It's been about 6 days now, so we're probably going to train him a little bit on Wednesday. Curious Winner is also back. There's a horse that really, really grew up. My biggest concern with him always was he was always thin. He ate good, but just didn't put weight on, and we turned him out for 4 weeks or so, and he really packed on the beef. So, Curious Winner really blew up, filled up, and looked really, really good. So he's back going now. Dance Hall Babe, she's done. Obviously won the Harvest Stakes the other day. Very, very proud of that. It obviously wasn't a noteworthy performance. It was a short field that only went in 2:01, but she got to the winner's circle, and that is very noteworthy. Halfway down the lane, she could have been a tired, mediocre second. Instead, she was a game winner, and that's important for me. So, Dance Hall Babe is going for a well-deserved rest. Delcrest Star Angel, schooled once, twice, qualified once. Little flat in her qualifier. We pulled her blood and she had tied up a little bit. Nothing major, but a little bit, a little over 1,000. That count should be down around 200, and sometimes they can get really, really high. Hers wasn't high, but enough to make her look lackluster. So, we're just going to give her a week and get that AST, that muscle count down. It's like tweaking your back. We're just going to give her a week and get that down and get her comfortable, and then race her. Probably looking to race her at Flamborough, London, her first start, which is I'm a little unsure of that because she's never gone a fast mile and a half. Yes, we're at Tamiko Training Center, but having said that, she doesn't train here fast. We always take her over to Mohawk, so she'll be looking for Flamborough or London this week. Happy Holidays is back going now. I'd say within the next 10 days or 2 weeks, you'll see her into qualify also. Hopefully she's made some strides. For whatever reason, when we turned her out, she just didn't come back good this year. And we turned her out again. She had some issues she was battling. She was really struggling with allergies and sickness. And by all accounts, she should be fine. Now, Gelona raced terrible the other day. Her and Real Willie both raced flat, and I doubt they're tired. Neither of them have you know, if they were pitchers, neither of them have a high pitch count, so to speak. They shouldn't be tired, but they definitely looked tired the other day. Gelona's blood come back, or eosinophils, so a portion of her white count were spiked. She could be going through a little touch of the virus. So we're going to give her a week off and race her back when I come back from Harrisburg. King of the Ball is in to go tonight for you. That's yesterday. I hope he does well. He was quiet his first start, which is shocking because he's been a runaway now for months and months and months. Finally got him back to where he's negotiable in the mile, and last week he was just flat. Scoped him, he's full of mucus, treated him up really good. He is in to go tonight at Western Fair Raceway, the district Western Fair Raceway. Mystical Mission's about 2 weeks away. He's ready to start schooling next week maybe. Jason's trained him twice. He'll train again today or tomorrow, and then we'll get him back into the rotation. Real Willie raced terrible last night. Had the 10-hole finish, whatever, 6, 7, 8, but looked bad, looked tired, and he shouldn't. So I said to Jason, you know, you have Gelona and Real Willie, both horses we had, Gelona had dropped down in class quite a bit, and Real Willie, we had handicapped him with the outside, but both times we raced him, he raced awesome in the 6-horse field. I drove him into a blind switch. He raced okay his next start, and then again looked even worse the next week last night. finished back, but didn't have any pop to him. So I'd said maybe kick him out in the field for a week and let him freshen up a bit. I don't imagine he's tired, and that's a great class for him all winter. So Real Willie is a horse I'm going to be keeping my eye on. RV LeBron. I just watched RV LeBron train a minute ago. Todd was going with him, actually, and he looked good. He's going to be in to qualify again. He'd made a couple of breaks. He ran on Mario at the qualifier in Flamborough. Then he made a mistake the other day at Mohawk with Sylvain. Now, it's tough to tell somebody what a horse is going to do. He'll trot out of the gate 1, 2, 3, 4, and then get out of gear, and you got to watch him. You got to watch him, and I told Sylvain that. He caught him off guard, and he made a break going into the first turn. So he's going to have to work on that going forward. Stolen Dance. I trained Stolen Dance at Mohawk. 2.9, come half, and 102 in a piece with her. Getting much better. We got her shod right. She's not hitting. She's got to get comfortable in her own skin, so to speak. I'd like to see her put on some weight and fill out, because she's now figured it out. She looks great. Where that will lead, I have no idea, but she's doing all her work properly right now. Stonebridge Loyal, watched her train a minute ago. She looks incredible. Much, much better. I didn't know how she come back. Obviously, she labored through the spring with those issues, those minor issues. There was a bunch of them bothering her. We raced her a couple of times, and we opted to turn her out. She's come back great. Jason trained her here in 2.11, come a half, and 1-1 with her the other day. He said, this is a nice filly. So we might, I would say within a week or 10 days, she'll be schooling at Mohawk or Flamborough, and I expect she'll be fine. Looks great. And then, and that's it. Torches Pirate left this week. The owner sold him. Yeah, we did what we were asked to do. You know, we got him racing, and he raced good a couple of starts, and then he made a couple of breaks, and they opted to sell him. I can't really blame them. You know, at some point we all have to take a realistic and serious look at what we have and what we will have in the future, and weigh that against whether we want to keep the horses here. And although we all love horses, we all want to keep them all around, at some point there is a line that everybody crosses and every horse crosses. And Torches Pirate, I guess we've only had him a short time, but he crossed that line. So they sold him. I'm sure he'll be racing for someone else. So that's it. That's Jason's barn. I'm going to be back in a minute. We're going to run through Kevin's barn, and then I'll be back with all of the babies just after that. See you in a bit. So we talked about Jason's barn. We talked about Harry's barn. We're going to run through Kevin's barn real quick. Kevin's got a lot of horses on the horizon that are almost ready to go, and we're going to get through them here for you. American League's about a week away. I know Kevin's been in 2.8. I think he took him over to Mohawk to train today. Track was a little bit hard this morning. They missed it. It froze overnight. A little cold overnight, and they missed it a little bit. So Kevin, I think, had taken all the horses over to train at Mohawk, so that's smart. Good for him. By the time I got here at 9:15, 9:20, the sun had come out. It was +3. The track's in great shape now, but Kevin's over there training them, so good for him for doing that. American League will be ready to go here in another week or so. He's been training great, looked good on the track the other day when I saw him, put a little bit of weight on, filled out exactly what we needed him to do. He will be ready within the next 7 to 10 days. Art Seeker just started back. We gave him some time off. Here's a horse that really disappointed me all summer on a regular basis, and we'll probably put some good lines on Art Seeker and move him along somewhere. He's definitely in on a dispersal list, my own dispersal list for certain, but we will see. I guess he can work his way off it. That will be up to him. Be My Delight's impressing both me and Kevin. She looks awesome training right now. He's really, really impressed with her. Obviously, she's well bred. We had schooled her in 2 minutes before we shut her down. She'd injured her back, same way Lawmaker did getting cast when they had that ice storm late in the spring. So Be My Delight obviously filled out. Her knees cooled down. Her knees and feet bothered her. Both cooled down. She looks great. She's not on line, and Kevin is really impressed with her. Better Call Mike, 2.11 the other day at the farm. He's over at the track right now. I don't know what he's planning on going with him. Maybe 2.5, 2.6 in the bike if he snaps him in the bike. But Better Call Mike is not far away. He'll be at the races soon. Horse that still is a little ways away is Boldness. Boldness, still a little rough. I'm going to talk to the blacksmith this morning about making some shoeing changes on Boldness. Him and another filly we're going to talk about in a minute are coming up with me. Both of them just got a lot of work to do. So Boldness, I'm going to take him at some point. That line we talked about with Torches Pirate and the Jason thing, where we all have that line. I'd love to let Boldness mature late into his 3-year-old year, potentially 4, but we have clients, and Boldness can mature in somebody else's barn if that's how long it's going to take, because I can't see the way forward if he's going to continue to be rough. Now, we've been in 16 with him. He's getting close enough, but 16 is not 56, and 20 seconds is tough to find sometimes. It's not laying around in the backyard. So Boldness will probably make a decision on in the coming 2, 3, 4 weeks. I don't want to keep putting it off, but I do want to give the horse a chance to, you know, change his shoes and fool around them, see if we can't get him back on track, and we will bring him up to the top burn. There's Curious Winter jogging right there. Book the Bet. Book the Bet's been racing good. She's in to go on Thursday. If she continues to race good and we put a couple of wins on her program, we might look at selling her, I would suspect, only because she's probably getting close to that saturation point of money in the wintertime for these horses. So we can't keep them all forever, and as she approaches that saturation point, we'll probably be looking at potentially moving her. Also, not because she's not racing good, quite the opposite, because she has been racing good, and it's going to be tough to race her all winter when she runs out of that classification area here in Ontario. So Book the Bet, that's it for her. Cash In On Me actually is training good. I watched Kevin train him in, well, Jacques actually trained him in 2:14 the other day, and I was really impressed with what I saw. Thought the horse looked great. So he'll probably be ready. I guess 2:14 for him is not the same as 2:11 for American League. American League's been there, been racing. He knows what he's doing. Cash In On Me might still be 3 or 4 weeks away, but looks good. Cruising with Angus is getting close. He's been in 2:13 at the farm. He took him to Mohawk today. I'd say maybe 2 weeks. That'll be up to Kevin. Dancing at Midland. Also a horse. We put him in the pool for a couple of weeks. He's ready to go right now. I suspect we'll probably qualify him in the next 10 days back and get him back at it in the winter. That time off actually did him some good. Hopefully it'll freshen him up for these classes he's going to race in at Flamborough and London for the winter. Dancing on My Own's close also. I think Jacques said they ran 2:11 with her the other day. She's getting close. Still a little bit lazy. That's okay. When they're training them by themselves, you really see the lethargic ones, the ones that are a little lazy and take advantage of you, and Jacques, a little old French guy, and picking at her, and she'd love that. So Dancing on My Own is close. Dewey Ann is the other horse I was talking about. I'm going to bring her up to the top barn also. Well, actually, there's no room in the top barn now. Bring them up to Shed Row 3, close to the barn, so I can do those two, both her and Boldness. And Dewey Ann's in a little bit different situation than Boldness. I think we're probably going to breed Dewey Ann this spring. So I want to get a feel for her. I want to time it so that we either know she's going to race and do some good this winter right away, or no, she's not going to race and we're going to breed her. So there's no rush with Dewey Ann still. I know there's a lot of people out there saying, yes, there is a rush. I want to see her race. No, you don't. Not like this, you don't. She's going to have to come forward. There's a splint that's still bothering her left hind. She's still a little rocky. Her feet bother her. She's still growing. So rather than muscle our way through the winter with a okay trotter that's trying really hard to do her work and is well bred, we might just breed her. So I'm leaning towards probably she's going down that road in the springtime. But again, we'll let her make that decision soon enough. Holden Steady's back jogging now. Not training yet. Kevin's going to start training him this week, I believe. Looks good. Grown out a little bit. Tucked up a little bit. And Kevin likes what he sees with him. So we'll see there. If I knew Susie raced bad at her last start, I'm down to drive her Thursday. We'll see how she races on Thursday. I expect she'll race a lot better. Candy Mac is back. Just got the shoes put back on him. He really, really grew up and filled out. So again, I like to see that. When we turn them out at 2 and they've made some breaks and got out of gear and you bring them back and they're the same looking horse, it's not good. Because, you know, how can you expect a horse to be better if they don't look any better? They don't come in filled out, bigger, stronger. Then how can you expect them to be better? And luckily, none of our horses have come back like that. And Candy Mac is huge now, really filled out, looks big. Before, he was always small. He looked like a baby. He was small, he was frail, he was tucked up. Now he's put a lot of weight back, a lot of weight on. His barrel's bigger, he's longer, he's taller. This is exactly what we wanted to see from Candy Mac, so happy in that regard. Same goes for Majesty Boy. He's grown up and looks good. Kevin's probably going to start training him in the next 2 weeks. He's been in for about a week. Quartz Blue Chip's been in 2:11. She'll be back going this week, actually. I don't know if he took her to Mohawk. I thought I saw her in the Shed Row when I was there, so maybe he's planning on training her a little bit tomorrow. But Quartz Blue Chip's getting close. And my man, my boy, Road Tripper, blew a pus pocket out of his foot and needed a little bit of time off. I got to go down and go with, as I said at the start of the other video, got to go jog Beach Bum BB and Havana Unana. So our 2 Indiana horses, I got to go with to make sure they're all right. Now, Road Tripper blew a little pus pocket out of his foot. Not a big deal. He's back going now. This is a colt. He will go down with the ship with this guy. I think I see a lot of talent here, and it's going to take a lot of time to get it out of him. He's just huge. He's a big boy. He's smart. He wants to do his work, and he's a worker. So when things like this happen, where he blows a pus pocket out of his foot, simply give him the time. Give the horse the time and let him grow up, and that's exactly what we're doing. So Road Tripper, I have no idea an ETA on him. I would say at least a month. He'll be back around my birthday, around December 1st. So there's a little hint. It's my birthday on December 1st. So anyway, that's Kevin. We went through Harry, we went through Jason. I'll be back in just a moment, and we will run through all the little babies. I'll tell you what I like about them. I'll tell you the ones that really caught my eye, and I'll tell you the ones we're looking at. I'll tell you, well, maybe not all the ones we're looking at, but I'll tell you what's going on with the baby barn, so to speak, in the coming days and weeks. Be back in a moment.